The spin-off of Yellowstone, titled 1944, has been officially announced to be in production, and it will arrive just in time to fill in significant gaps in the Dutton family tree storyline. As the second season of 1923 came to a close, viewers discovered that both Alexandra Dutton, portrayed by Julia Schlepfer, and Elizabeth Dutton, portrayed by Michelle Randolph, are expecting children. This news prompted a lot of questions, given that the only member of the next generation of Duttons that has been confirmed to exist is John Dutton II, who was portrayed in Yellowstone by the late Dabney Coleman. It is anticipated that the series, which has been given the admirable title 1944, would take place in Montana during World War II, most likely on the ranch owned by the Dutton family. The time period gives the impression that the tale might once more involve historical occurrences, despite the fact that no official plot has been disclosed as of yet. Given the track record of the franchise with historical storytelling, such as 1883 and 1923, it is possible that significant military events, such as the invasion of Normandy or the Battle of the Bulge, will be incorporated into the family drama. It was initially reported by Paramount in November 2023 that the series would be produced alongside a spin-off that was initially titled 2024. However, the spin-off has since been renamed The Madison and is scheduled to feature Michelle Pfeiffer. According to Chris McCarthy, President and Chief Executive Officer of Showtime and MTV Entertainment Studios, the projects are a part of the ongoing expansion of the Yellowstone universe. On the heels of the success of 1883 and 1923, our new planned spin-offs, 1944 and 2024, will take audiences on a new and unexpected journey with the intricate and compelling storytelling that has become a hallmark of the franchise and has helped turn it into a worldwide cultural phenomenon thanks to the creative mastermind of Taylor Sheridan, he told The Hollywood Reporter at the time. 1944 and 2024 are both being planned. The excitement was mirrored by David Glasser, the chief executive officer of 101 Studios, who stated, "We can't wait to bring 1944 and The Madison to audiences everywhere." The cast of 1944 has not yet been officially announced. However, given that the show takes place only 21 years after the events of 1923, it is highly probable that characters such as Jack Dutton, played by Darren Mann, Elizabeth, played by Michelle Randolph, Spencer Dutton, played by Brandon Sklenar, and Alexandra, played by Julia Schlepfer, will make an appearance, possibly in a more mature form of themselves. Considering that 1923 revealed that both Elizabeth and Alexandra were expecting children, it is likely that one of these couples will end up becoming the parents of John Dutton in the future. Although Dabney Coleman played an older version of John Dutton Eyre in a flashback episode of Yellowstone, the actor passed away in 2024, which means that a new performer will take on the role if he appears in 1944. John Dutton Eyre is an important figure in the Dutton legacy because he is the father of John Dutton, i.e. Kevin Costner, and the grandfather of Beth, Case, Jamie, and Lee. Additionally, the timeline allows for the introduction of the love story of John Dutton Eyre's parents, which is yet another romantic tale that has the potential to become a significant subplot, similar to some of the prequels that came before it. Even though it is called 1944, the film has not yet been given a release date. Most likely, this is due to the fact that the final episode of 1923 was recently broadcast on April 13, 2025. According to Sklenar, the series will come to a close with the second season. Sklenar stated, "It looks like a bookend. It is still restricted, but I consider it to be a single piece. The only difference is that there is a split in the middle. It will come to an end." Now that 1923 has come to an end, 1944 will serve as the next bridge in the family drama that follows the Duttons. And further series that will follow Beth Dutton and Rip Wheeler, as well as a modern-day spin-off called The Madison, are both something that fans may look forward to while they wait. Additionally, there is a film called 6666, which takes place in Texas and explores the life of a cowboy at the renowned Four Sixes Ranch, which Sheridan happens to own. For the time being, fans of Yellowstone should relax because Taylor Sheridan's Dutton dynasty is not even close to being finished. Talk to us. Among the characters from Yellowstone, which ones would you like to see in 1944? Post your thoughts in the comments section below. There is a possibility that Brandon Sklena's involvement in the Dutton family drama is not yet complete. New information suggests that there may be more in store for Sklena's character, Spencer Dutton, in the future, potentially in the next Yellowstone prequel known as 1944. This is despite the fact that the most recent episode of 1923 hinted at the conclusion of the series. A statement made by Sklena himself indicates that he is more than prepared to take on Spencer's responsibilities. After the presentation of the season finale for the 1923 season this past weekend, fans were devastated to learn that they would no longer be able to watch one of the most cherished episodes in the Dutton family drama. There is, nevertheless, a possibility that not all hope is lost, particularly with regard to the future of Spencer Dutton. In an interview that took place not too long ago with The Hollywood Reporter, the actor who played the role of 1923 expressed his enthusiasm about the possibility of returning to the series in further installments. Even if the plot were to continue, he was open to the possibility of incorporating his age into the role. He made a joke about it by saying, "Give me some gout, a little hunch, and some salt and pepper. I will make the voice a little bit gravellier. If the opportunity presents itself, I would be thrilled to take it on. I do intend to do so. It is not at all anything that I want to do to part ways with Spencer. That man is my favorite." In addition, the conclusion appeared to provide a solution to a topic that had been lingering for a long time regarding the Dutton family tree, the origin of John Dutton III, who was portrayed by Kevin Costner in Yellowstone. As a result of the preterm birth of John Dutton I, the son of Spencer and Alexandra, it seemed as though Spencer was confirmed to be John I's grandfather. However, Sklena claims that this connection is not even close to being official, at least not yet. In an interview with Tagar, he stated that one would assume what it is at the end of the finale, but that it has not yet been confirmed. Therefore, I suppose that we will have to wait until 1944, which is the next prequel series. Our hope is that they will provide that information in the very first episode, and that we won't have to wait for confirmation for the entirety of the series. Sklena is holding his expectations in check with regard to his future in the Yellowstone universe, despite the fact that he is excited about the prospect of returning. For the time being, Sklena insists that he is concentrating on looking back, spending some time to think about his time spent working on 1923 and the personal development he discovered through his role as Spencer Dutton. Not only did the conclusion of the season signify the end of a profession for him, but it also signified the end of a chapter in his life that was profoundly altering overall. A lot of factors contributed to the intense emotional impact that it had. During the time that I was putting the finishing touches on that particular phase of my life, I was also thinking about the past 3 years and the impact that they have had on me. When asked about the conclusion of the season, Sklena stated that it was quite emotional, but it was not necessarily sad. As you reach the culmination of something that is so big in your life, you will feel a great deal of energy going through you. Not to mention the fact that you have to factor in what Spencer is going through in the story, both the loss and the sorrow. The realization that he will never be able to express the kind of love that he possesses is a source of great anguish. In the year 1923, Brandon Sklena plays the role of Spencer Dutton, a guy who is influenced by the aftermath of World War I, as well as his position within the Dutton family. At the same time that he is attempting to navigate his relationship with Alexandra, Spencer, who is the nephew of James Dutton, is struggling with the pain of his past. The trip he takes is marked by internal conflict as he confronts loss, regret, and the pressure of carrying on the legacy of his family. Spencer's character journey is around his need to protect those he loves, even if it means face the harsh facts of the world around him. His stern yet caring nature makes him an intriguing character, and his story revolves around them. At the same time that he is attempting to navigate his relationship with Alexandra, Spencer, who is the nephew of James Dutton, is struggling with the pain of his past. The trip he takes is marked by internal conflict as he confronts loss, regret, and the pressure of carrying on the legacy of his family. Spencer's character journey is around his need to protect those he loves, even if it means face the harsh facts of the world around him. His stern yet caring nature makes him an intriguing character, and his story revolves around them. Taylor Sheridan, the creator of Yellowstone, is now working on 3 additional projects, which means that the Yellowstone universe is going to undergo yet another expansion. The story of the Dutton family throughout the Roaring Twenties comes to a close with the conclusion of the 2nd season in 1923. Thereafter, it is quite probable that Yellowstone Season 5 will be transformed into a sequel spin-off starring Kelly Reilly and Cole Hauser, and Michelle Pfeiffer will take the lead role in a new title within the Yellowstone universe that will be called The Madison. That is already a lot. Nevertheless, lovers of Yellowstone will also receive 1944, which is the following story in the Dutton family's history that spans a decade. In spite of the fact that 40 years have passed between the events of 1883 and 1923, the next spin-off that is currently in the process of being developed will only jump forward 21 years. Despite the fact that no one from the cast of 1883 returned for the 1923 season, it is actually feasible that some of the stars from the 1923 season will continue to appear in other shows. Despite the fact that there has been no announcement made regarding a possible cast as of yet, it was revealed near the conclusion of the 2nd season of 1923 that Spencer Dutton, played by Brandon Sklenar, was the heir apparent to the Dutton dynasty. Through the revelations of the narrator, it is revealed that Spencer lives long enough to be able to return in 1944 as an older man. They also had the opportunity to see John Dutton Jr. while he was in his 20s. In the 1940s, a rather significant conflict takes place, despite the fact that nothing has been declared as of yet. Obviously, Spencer Dutton served in the First World War before the events of 1923, which means that it is not out of the question for his son to serve in World War I. Additionally, D-Day takes place in June of 1944, which is a significant turning point for the conclusion of the war. 1944 may also remain in the United States, with the primary focus being on the ranching heritage of the family during a period in which the majority of physically capable men were serving overseas. The conclusion of the 2nd season brought our 1923 characters to a satisfying conclusion, but with Yellowstone, you never know what will happen next. Similarly, the spin-offs for 1944 and The Madison, which were just recently revealed, have not yet been given a release date. Neither one of them has the spin-off that included Rip Wheeler and Beth Dutton. A Loot Crimes spin-off has even been said to be in the works. Fans of Dutton, however, would not be required to make their way to the train station. It seems as though there is a significant amount of Yellowstone action that is going to be heading our way. As was previously reported, 1944 will be the next Yellowstone prequel at Paramount Plus, following 1883 and 1923. The specifics of the tale are being kept under wraps, but it will undoubtedly investigate the ways in which World War II has influenced the Yellowstone Ranch and the Dutton family. It is revealed in the final episode of the series 1923 that Spencer Dutton, who is portrayed by Brandon Sklenar, suffers the loss of his wife Alex, who is played by Julia Schletfer, but he lives for an additional 45 years while he is raising their son. This son is John Dutton Aine, who is also the father of John Dutton Aine, the protagonist of Yellowstone. John Dutton Aine would have turned 21 years old by the time the series began in 1944, making him an obvious choice for the role of protagonist. In a similar vein, Spencer would still be alive in 1944, however it is questionable whether or not Sklenar would return to resume the role of Spencer. The actor, on the other hand, is definitely game. Sklenar stated in an interview with Variety that was related to the conclusion of the series, "Listen, I am aware that 1944 is something that they are planning on doing here, and it is possible that we will see Spencer in 1944. In that case, I would be interested in participating in that activity." Given the success that both 1923 and 1883 have had for Paramount, it should not come as much of a surprise that the decision has been made to continue the prequel shows to Yellowstone. 1883 received 3 nominations for the Emmys, while the first season of 1923 received 2 nods for the Golden Globes, including one for the Best Drama Series. In addition, the show's audience statistics were quite impressive. Additionally, the prequels strengthen the bond that Yellowstone mastermind Taylor Sheridan has with Paramount, where he is currently involved in a lucrative overall agreement. In December of 2024, the television series Yellowstone came to an end after 5 seasons. However, a new series called The Madison, starring Michelle Pfeiffer, is already in production, and a Beth Rip spin-off is currently in the works. Additionally, it was recently revealed that CBS has been having preliminary conversations about the possibility of a spin-off starring Case Dutton. The television programs Landman, Tulsa King, Mayo of Kingstown, and Lioness are all produced by Sheridan and are available on Paramount+. It's possible that Yellowstone National Park, as we know it, has vanished into the horizon. Nevertheless, the Yellowstone universe is still very much alive and kicking, despite the fact that the flagship series that originally starred Kevin Costner may have taken its last ride with its enormous Season 5B finale. After the success of the prequel series 1883, Yellowstone-verse mastermind Taylor Sheridan continues to travel back in time on the Dutton family tree and debuted 1923, which has just finished its 2nd season and may be the final season of the series. After that, the prequel verse will go to the subsequent series, which is 1944. As a result of the conclusion of the dual writer and actor strikes that occurred in Hollywood in 2023, which caused the recent Yellowstone and 1923 seasons to be postponed, Paramount Network disclosed that not only were the Dutton sagas back on schedule, but that the series would be expanding with at least 2 new spin-offs. The flagship series of the Paramount Network, which was the beginning of everything, debuted in 2018. It was revealed that the last season would be the second half of its 5th season, which was referred to as Season 5B. The season's conclusion, which consisted of 6 episodes, was shown on December 15th. There has been a consistent increase in the number of people watching the cattle ranch family drama that was once led by Kevin Costner. The release of the first episode of the 5th season broke ratings records and earned the series the most successful overnight launch ever. The return of Yellowstone, which had already established a record, continued to attract large audiences and ended with a series high. As a result of the production being delayed due to the fact that actor Costner was involved in a dispute regarding his filming schedule, the Paramount Network made the announcement that the mega-hit series will be cancelled after the 5th season. It was finally confirmed by Costner that he had really left the series, which was a long-awaited confirmation after many months of conjecture. In light of the fact that the mid-season 5 finale left viewers on the edge of their seats, they were compelled to tune in to find out how Sheridan had written him off the series. In the role of the primary Dutton family that is left to pick up the pieces, Kelly Rayleigh and Cole Hauser, Wes Bentley, Luke Grimes, and Kelsey Asbell are the actors leading the charge. A continuation with Rayleigh and Hauser, who play fan-favorite Beth Dutton and Rip, began development after it was confirmed that Season 5B would be the final run of the show. However, it is not clear whether this show will be a spin-off from the flagship or whether it will serve as a 6th season. A second spin-off starring Luke Grimes, following the Case Dutton character, is also apparently in the early stages of discussion. However, Paramount has not yet provided a response. More on that will be provided below. Because of a licensing agreement that was in place before to the merger between Viacom and CBS, Yellowstone has been streamed exclusively on Peacock, which is owned by NBC Universal. Unlike the prequels, Yellowstone is not available on Paramount+. For more information on how to watch the series, go here. The premiere of 1883 took place on Paramount+ in December 2021, and it was followed by a full-season broadcast on Paramount Network during the summer of that same year. Isabel May, who played the lead role in Yellowstone, narrated the prequel series, which followed her and her co-stars Stan Elliott, Faith Hill, and Tim McGraw on a wagon path in the 19th century as they embarked on an epic journey across the country before settling what would later become the Yellowstone Ranch, which was featured in the flagship series. As a result of the success of the Paramount+ series right from the start, the network decided to order additional episodes for the limited series, which ultimately led to the development of the franchise into 1923, that will be discussed further below. Despite the fact that it had already been accessible to stream on Paramount+ for a year, the telecast that was broadcast on the Paramount Network broke a new record for the channel by attracting just under 5 million viewers after an episode of Yellowstone. In June of 2023, in the midst of the dual strikes, Paramount Network also initiated a linear re-release that was released weekly. After going on to narrate 1923 from the grave and making a surprise voiceover appearance at the end of the flagship's Season 5B finale, Elsa Dutton has become the connective tissue of the franchise. She has gone on to narrate the television show From the Grave. The second Yellowstone prequel series, 1923, continued the Dutton family tree by tracing additional Dutton ancestry to the senior Duttons, who were portrayed by Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren. The series began several decades after the events in 1883. The decision to move the series to the year 1923 was explained by the creator, Sheridan, as follows. I chose that moment in time to peek back in because you're seeing the children that we've met in 1883 attempting to raise another generation of Dutton. The first season ended on a cliffhanger that focused on the emerging main character of the series, who was played by Brandon Sklenar, and the show was quickly renewed for a second season. The debut of the drama that took place in the early 20th century became the most watched series premiere on cable in the year 2022. In February of 2025, 2 years after the conclusion of the first season, the second season was made available on Paramount+. It was during the conclusion of Yellowstone Season 5B that the first trailer for the series was broadcast. In the season's summary, it was stated that a cruel winter brings new challenges and unfinished business to Jacob, Ford, and Kara Mirren back at Dutton Ranch. In the face of challenging circumstances and foes who threaten to bring an end to the Dutton heritage, Spencer Sklenar sets out on a challenging journey back home, racing against the clock to secure the safety of his family in Montana. While everything is going on, Alexandra, played by Julia Schlepfer, embarks on her own perilous trip across the Atlantic Ocean in order to locate Spencer and rescue their love. It has not been announced by Paramount whether or not 1923 will carry on beyond the second season. What happened at the end of the season, which paved the way for 1944 and probably even more, can be found here. In the process of confirming that Yellowstone would be ending, Paramount Network has already begun the process of developing 2 other spin-offs. It was intended that the first Yellowstone sequel would be the very first one ever made, and the working title for it was 2024. After the events that took place in Yellowstone, the story that's being told today would take place. Straight to series was the order that was issued for it, and it will be available to stream on Paramount+. The launch date has not yet been determined. The Dutton family dynasty will continue to be explored throughout the series, with new people and locations, as well as some of the characters that have already been introduced. As the standoff between Costner and McConaughey began, it was widely known that Matthew McConaughey was initially in discussions to star in the series. However, there was never any announcement of a deal. In the time since then, the show has been rebranded as The Madison, and Michelle Pfeiffer is currently playing the lead role. The film star, who has been nominated for an Academy Award, is also serving as an executive producer for the spin-off series, which is currently being produced by Sheridan, the head of the franchise. It has been decided that the next show to be released in the Yellowstone world will be The Madison. Following a family from New York City as they travel across the Madison River Valley in northern Montana, The Madison is a moving examination of the experiences of loss and the bonds that exist between people. Matthew Fox, who previously appeared in Lost, Patrick J. Adams, who is a star on Suits, Elle Chapman, who is a novice to television, and Beau Garrett, who is a star on Firefly Lane, have all been added to the cast. Additionally, Ben Schnetzer and Amy Miller play roles in Y: The Last Man. According to the announcement, the second spin-off will be another prequel that will take place in 1944 and will follow in the footsteps of the 1883 and 1923 spin-offs. There has been a lack of information regarding this series. However, The Hollywood Reporter conducted interviews with a number of actors from the year 1923 following the conclusion of the second season in order to hypothesize about the ways in which their characters could prepare the way. Here and here as well. Sheridan, who is jointly responsible for the creation of Yellowstone with John Linson and serves as the showrunner for the franchise, revealed in a cover article for The Hollywood Reporter in June that he has numerous prequel concepts in the works, but 1944 is the first one to receive approval. MTV Entertainment Studios and 101 Studios will be responsible for producing the spin-offs, just as they were for the respective original series. The time has not yet come for Beth Dutton and Rip Wheeler to get away and ride off into the sunset. In order to remain on the Yellowstone verse, the fan-favorite Yellowstone couple, who Kelly Reilly and Cole Hauser, respectively, have been in the process of actively developing their roles. There were many stories that arose just a few days before the conclusion of the 5th season to indicate that the two had signed negotiations. These deals were not for a 6th season of the flagship, as had been previously claimed, but rather for their very own spin-off series. It is possible that the news was a spoiler prior to the conclusion of the show, which would explain why Paramount Network did not comment on it. It has been brought to the attention of both Reilly and Hauser that they are interested in following Sheridan, who is responsible for writing all of the episodes of Yellowstone wherever his pen travels. According to what Hauser said to TR at the beginning of this season, Taylor can figure out how to absolutely continue if he wants to. Then Reilly continued, "It is up to him. He has our faith. I have complete faith in him, regardless of where he takes her. Whether we are going to leave her where we have left her, or whether we are going to find her somewhere else, I have complete faith in him." Sheridan left the door wide open to carry on with Beth and Rip, according to Christina Voros, who is the executive producer and director of Season 5B. Voros made this revelation after the conclusion of the show. Check out her interview with Thar, which is full with spoilers. Since that time, it has been rumored that Luke Grimes is also in early discussions with CBS to continue the flagship tale with a Case Dutton spin-off. CBS has not yet commented on this report. Sheridan has announced that the 6666 spin-off series, which was supposed to star Yellowstone actor Jefferson White Jimmy, has been put on hold. This decision was made due to the fact that Sheridan has purchased the site in Texas where the show will be filmed, which is the Four Sixes Ranch. In the cover story of THR, he explained that for a number of reasons, needs a unique level of special care because this is a real place with real families working here. The Montana Ranch in Yellowstone is a fictional creation, but the Four Sixes Ranch, which is portrayed as the 6666 ranch in the series, is a genuine ranch. You must show proper reverence for the lineage. I have requested that the studio exercise patience. In addition to Bosque Ranch, Sheridan is the owner and operator of 2 ranches in the state of Texas. In addition, he has just recently launched a steakhouse in Las Vegas called Four Sixes Ranch Steakhouse, which serves his own beef from Four Sixes Ranch. With the conclusion of the Yellowstone series drawing near, fans are lamenting the passing of an era. Yet, there is now a bright side to this situation. In addition to the fact that 1923 has been given the green light for a second season, the popular Dutton dynasty, which is played by Taylor Sheridan, has been given the go-ahead for yet another prequel, with a 4th prequel being planned for shortly after that. On the heels of 1883 and 1923 success, our new planned spin-offs, 1944 and 2024, will take audiences on a thrilling, new, and unexpected journey with the complex and compelling storytelling that has become a hallmark of the franchise and has helped turn it into a worldwide cultural phenomenon. Thanks to the creative mastermind of Taylor Sheridan, the chief executive officer of Showtime and MTV Entertainment Studios, said in a statement released yesterday. Continue reading to receive all of the information that we have regarding the upcoming Yellowstone prequel. Despite the fact that the specifics of 1944 are yet unknown, there are a few possible paths that it could go. Due to the fact that 1944 is only 21 years after 1923, it has the potential to display Spencer and Alexandra Dutton, Brendan Sklenar, and Julia Schepfer in their later professional lives. There is also the possibility that the show will focus on an entirely new generation of Dutton kids. Concerning the occurrences that might serve as a source of inspiration for the course that the show will take, considering the era, there is a good likelihood that World War II will play a part. There has not yet been a definitive decision made about the release date of 1944. As a result of the strikes from the Writers Guild of America and the Screen Actors Guild of America, we are aware that the second season of 1923 will most likely not return until the beginning of 2025, which means that 1944 will most likely not return either. The series is anticipated to be broadcast on Paramount Plus like the other Yellowstone spin-offs, according to our expectations. After the premiere of Yellowstone in 2018, spectators were quickly attracted by the presentation. At this point, after 5 seasons, the Paramount show that stars Kevin Costner as John Dutton and Kelly Reilly as Beth Dutton is among the most popular shows in the history of television. In point of fact, it has been so successful that it has resulted in the creation of nearly half a dozen distinct spin-offs, all of which were created or co-created by Taylor Sheridan. 1944 is now in the process of being developed, and it will be a continuation of the Yellowstone spin-offs that have already been released. Tim McGraw and Faith Hill starred in the first one, which was a prequel series about the Dutton family and was titled 1883. Helen Mirren and Harrison Ford play members of the Dutton family, who are of the following generation in the second installment, which was released in 2022 and was titled 1923. A second season of 1923 is scheduled to premiere. There will be a number of further spin-offs in the works. Despite the fact that Sheridan has stated that the series is now on hold, he has been working on 6666, which will take place in the present day at 46's Ranch in Texas. Matthew McConaughey is rumored to have been participating in discussions over the possibility of starring in a Yellowstone spin-off, which is now anticipated to be the contemporary series 2024. In addition, lawman Bass Reeves, which was formerly thought of as a spin-off of 1883, but will now launch a completely new anthology series for Sheridan, is centered on the true story of Bass Reeves, the first black deputy United States Marshal. David Oyelowo will play Bass Reeves in the series. In the Yellowstone franchise, 1944 is the most recent prequel spin-off, and here is all we know about it so far. We are going to make an effort to answer your questions on the premiere date of 1944, the potential cast members of the series, and the locations where you will be able to view it once it is aired. According to Variety, Paramount made the announcement on November 2 that it had given their approval for the Yellowstone spin-off project 1944. Along with the release of the news, another spin-off, titled 2024, which is being referred to as a current series, was also made. Specifically, MTV Entertainment Studios and 101 Studios will be responsible for the production of both 1944 and 2024. Variety published an article on the same day stating that the final episodes of Yellowstone are scheduled to be released in November of 2024. Check out this page to learn everything we know about the upcoming installments in the main series. Details regarding the Yellowstone spin-off 1944 have not been made public by either Sheridan or Paramount respectively. According to a report that was published in the Reveille Republic newspaper in the state of Montana in February 2023, Tom Prince, an executive at 101 Studios, disclosed details regarding the series during a town hall meeting that took place in Hamilton, Montana. He stated that the series 1923, in which Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren play the roles of Jacob and Cara Dutton, respectively, will be followed up by the series 1944. My guess is that it'll be shooting largely in the Bitterroot Valley because it has to take place at what is Chief Joseph Ranch, Prince stated in his interview. The Chief Joseph Ranch, which is located in Darby, Montana, is the ranch that the Dutton family uses in the Yellowstone series' primary narrative. On the basis of Prince's revelation that 1944 will be the sequel to 1923 and will be shot on the ranch in Bitterroot Valley, it is reasonable to presume that it will be about another branch in the Dutton family tree. Because of the worldwide fight, the United States of America was impacted in a variety of ways, including the fact that women were required to take on roles that had previously been handled by men while they were at war. It is probable that the tale will touch on the problems that the United States faced during the end of World War II. In light of this, it is possible that the matriarch of the Dutton family will take over management of the Yellowstone Dutton Ranch. The fact that 1944 is anticipated to be a sequel to 1923 means that Yellowstone fans might have to wait till the conclusion of the series starring Harrison Ford in order to watch the spin-off in question. The second season of 1923 does not even have a release date yet, which means that the earliest we may see 1944 is probably the end of 2024. However, we anticipate that it will be even later than that, given that the final episodes of Yellowstone are scheduled to broadcast in November of 2024. As of yet, there have been no official statements made regarding the cast of 1944. Although it was announced by The Hollywood Reporter in February 2023 that Matthew McConaughey was in negotiations to feature in a new Yellowstone spin-off, it is generally believed that the show in question is the sequel series that is currently known as 2024. Due to the fact that 1944 is a show produced by the Paramount Network, it is likely that it will be accessible on Paramount Plus, similar like the other Yellowstone spin-offs, although Yellowstone is now streaming on Peacock. The manner in which the network chooses to broadcast it will determine whether or not it is also accessible via cable. Due to the fact that 1944 is a show produced by the Paramount Network, it is likely that it will be accessible on Paramount Plus, similar like the other Yellowstone spin-offs, although Yellowstone is now streaming on Peacock. The manner in which the network chooses to broadcast it will determine whether or not it is also accessible via cable. There have been very few plot details revealed by Sheridan or Paramount Plus, so it is currently unknown whether this new series will focus on a new generation of Duttons or whether it will follow older versions of characters that were already seen in 1923. For example, Spencer and Alexandra Dutton, Brendan Sklenar, and Julia Shepfer, pictured below, are examples of previous characters that have been seen in the series. Given that the story takes place in the year that the title refers to, the only thing that we can say with a degree of certainty at this point is that the Second World War will play a role in the story in some way. After the premiere of the final batch of episodes of the main Yellowstone series in November, we won't be able to watch any new Sheridan content. Additionally, due to the delays caused by the WGA and SAG-AFTRA strikes, it is highly likely that the second season of 1923 won't begin airing until the following year. Neither 1944 nor the new Matthew McConaughey spin-off, 2024, will begin airing until 2024.